Okay, so taped it down. What we're going to do is do the darks first, and then we put it aside, let it dry, and then carry on with something else whilst we wait. I'm going to use a flat brush. I don't often use a flat brush. If you haven't got one, don't worry. I mean, you can use a round one, but if you've got a flat brush, it's fine. And I'm going to use a mixture of Payne's Grey. Now, my Payne's Grey seems to be more, well, I don't know, that looks quite blue, but just lately it seems to have been very grey as opposed to my lovely blue shade. I think I may have bought a different tube. I'm just Payne's Grey, and it's sort of that consistency. Don't put your finger in it, Susan. That consistency. And I get it on my brush, and then I dab it on the tissue to dry the brush because I don't want too much water in. And we better start with this tree here, otherwise I should be putting my hand in it. So I'm just touching the sides and try not to do it too symmetrically. I'm just using it on the side and pulling it across. Like that, she says. Do dots and little bits. Try and make it as asymmetrical as possible, which is quite difficult for our brains because we do, when we're told not to do it symmetrically, we actually just do it symmetrically. Okay, so I've joined a bit up the other side, but that's fine, not all of them. And we do exactly the same on the next one. And just going up and making it as random as you possibly can. And right to the top of the page. And the third one, I haven't replenished the brush. It's quite happy at the moment. Could I ask you to all mute, please?
Oh,
oh. Shall I mute you?
me?
Anybody that doesn't?
Yeah, do you want to mute me?
I can never find it. Participants.
No, I couldn't find it.
Participants. Mute. And wherever you, there, I found it. Okay. Right. That's it. And so to carry on, I'm going up the tree, the last tree. So that's trees. I'm getting this slightly, I'm getting a round brush now. And with the same Payne's Grey, I'm going to do the dark on this little house. So it's dark over to the left, and then it's getting lighter as you come over to the right. And there's this diamond shape, which is total shadow. Goes in there. Goes in that wall. Then I want just some flicks up using the side of the brush. Flick it up. And I think that is it. Yep, that's it. Okay. So we've got a bit of a pond. So that will go there. bit of a pond, a bit of some hills in the background. And this is the edge of before the hills start. So it's the horizon. So the pond goes off and comes back round. So it is definitely a pond. We're going to reflect that tree. There's another tree there, so we'll reflect that one and we'll reflect that one. So I'm just drawing in 3 lines. So put a line up almost to the top of the page, and then a smaller one very close to it, and then and just a bit further back, so it's in the distance, and another one further up. They're all close, they're in a line, and if you stood in a certain way, you would they'd all just merge into one. And the foliage, although I've drawn it, will be quite sparse, and it will be like it's all one tree, because it'll be quite difficult to discern which leaves belong to which tree. So that's it. So these will all come down into the water. We could have a post, because that's good as well for reflections. You always need something along that water line so that you can reflect it, and then it says to the viewer, this is water. Don't you be mistaken about that one. Did that. And another time when we've got more preparation, we'll have another go at that. Seat of pants stuff, really. Here we go. So anyway, all those that didn't attempt that can now join in. Oh dear. It's a good job we're not professional, isn't it? So we're going to wet the front now then. It's taped down. Make sure it's taped down nicely all over. And we're going to wet the entire front. We're going to make it have a sheen, but no puddles. So make sure it's got no puddles. But if you've got a light, you can see a light on it. It should have a sheen the entire way over. We're now going to do the sky and the foliage all in one hit. I'm going to mix some light green. So I'm going to take some of my cobalt blue. If you've got a light green, use a light green. I'm not prescriptive about that. A little bit of my lemon yellow. And I've got a nice spring type green. Ew, I just got a dirty hand as well. I'm going to put a little bit more lemon yellow in. And so it's nice and spring-like with a bit of green in it. And I need to wipe that up. Okay, so I'm going to use a round brush and have some sky. So cobalt blue, cerulean, manganese, whatever. And just dance your brush across. You can go across where the tree is going to be. You want a little bit darker in the corners, so it keeps the viewer's eye in the painting. So so I've gone dark around there, and I'm dancing it around so it's looks as if it's got some sky, some clouds in it. So I'm just here and there, I mean, it's all wet and it will all blend in, but it's not a just blue sky. And then with the smaller brush and not too much water, where we decided those clumps of leaves were, just drop in some green, that light green. That's the base for the foliage. So that's the lightest green that will have the sun on, and then we darken it up as we let that dry. So I just dotted it in. I used a small round number. Oh gosh, no, that's come off, so I have no idea. But it was only small because I wanted to be quite precise where I dropped the stuff. The next bit, if you're ready, I'm going to take a bit bigger brush, and the grass in between the background hills and the pond, I'm just blocking in with that same light green, and this grass around here, because it's just a basis, it's just the first wash. So you've got your background hills between your green and your sky. So it's taken shape. This is quite a simple one. It's not Rembrandt. I've got a lump of something. So in a few minutes, we're going to take a bit darker green and drop it into this lighter green, not all over it, at the bottom of it. So we can either use dark green that we have on our palette, or we can make one. It's entirely up to you. When I say dark, I don't mean dark, because that's the next lot. So it's trees are usually light green, mid green, dark green, all in one tree, as is this grass, etc. Whilst we're waiting for this to dry, take a bit of the Payne's grey that you had out and a bit of the yellow, and you've made another green, but it's a bit darker, and just run in the edge of your pond a darker line, because it's always darker. Now, it doesn't matter if it bleeds up a bit. So there's always a darker edge. So unknowingly, I have actually made that next darker green because I put the Payne's grey that I had out earlier, and I put a bit of yellow in it, and we've got a darker green. So this is where I am now with this one. That was the first one. I'm now with this one. So I've used some of the Payne's grey I put out, lemon yellow again, and just gone a bit darker. So with your small brush, just touch in a little bit where it would be darker, mostly middle to bottom, but don't lose all that light green. So middle to bottom. We're going to go in with a darker one as well, so that's fine. And now we've got a little bit more 3D on a tree, on the tree. I didn't have too much water on my brush doing that, because otherwise it's going to make it, you have cauliflowers and it's going to make it too darn wet. And then the third, the really dark, I've brought in more of that. Every time I pick up my palette, I put my finger in this sepia colour. It's not nice. I brought in more of the Payne's grey and less of the yellow, so it's quite a dark green. And right at the bottom, not too much water, just touch in. A little bit of shadow. That's your shadow. And that's your tree done. So with a dilute mix of violet or lavender, I did it by using the cobalt blue and the tiniest bit of alizarin crimson. We're just going to drop in carefully these hills at the background. They're so far away that they haven't got any detail on them. They're just there. And wash the brush off. And if you've got a little bit of that blue still squeezed out, that hasn't gone lavender, we just do the water. A fairly dry brush with some of the blue and just pull it across. You don't want it blocked in totally. You want it to sparkle in places. And then I think really we ought to have a bit of a hedge. So I'm taking that dark green that I made for the shadow and just dotting a hedge in between the hill and look what appeared. Look. Just having a bit of a hedge. So dot a hedge in, make it breaks in it, make some bits taller. That should merge it into the hills. So you've got a bit of a break in between them. Tidy up there. I actually want a little bit more darker line here. So I'm just using more or less the Payne's grey and making a jaggedy line along that shoreline of the pond. That sounds very grand for a pond, no, a shoreline. I've dry brushed some medium green on, and then I put in places a little bit of the Payne's grey just to give it a bit of texture. And then with the side of the brush, I'm just flicking up some grasses from on the on that shore there. It's the side of the brush, it's almost dry. Just pulling it up. Then we need to do, whilst we're down here with a small brush, using Payne's Grey, I'm going to pull down, put Payne's Grey on at the top, get my finger, probably the only clean one, and pull. That's one trunk. Payne's Grey at the top, finger, pull. Payne's Grey at the top, finger, pull. I didn't pull far enough. And the same with the post. We haven't painted the post yet. Payne's Grey at the top, pull. And then a thicker Payne's Grey for the post itself. I need that to be a little bit darker. And I'm going to get the rigger, mix that very dark green again. So that's lemon yellow and the Payne's Grey, and just put up some little grasses. Along that pond edge. Using the side of the rigger, but it doesn't hold so much water, so you get a better. And I'm going to use some neat Payne's Grey as well, just to vary the colour. Try not to do it all over, just in places. And the Payne's Grey, I paint onto just underneath the grass, and then finger and pull all the way along. Do it in sections. I've got some sections here, so that's a line of wishy-washy paint underneath, and finger and pull. The last thing to do is to do the leaves. I picked up some of the very light green on my rigger, and I'm just dotting. Where they'd be. So they don't have to be attached. You don't need too many of them. And the ones on the top are always going to be lighter. Oh, picked up the wrong colour there. So down we come, doing the lighter ones. Okay. So we're going to do exactly the same with the mid greens. Only we're going to make them come out a little bit further down the tree. You don't need to do too many of these. Make sure you do them in the middle as well, because the tree is an all-round thing. And then I'm going to get the dark green, almost Payne's Grey really, and just do a few down the bottom. And in between the trees, the sets of trees. If you want to really faff, you can just put a little bit of dark shadow underneath the very light ones. It is so much faffing. Yeah. Does it make you feel better? Probably. And we need to do a tree trunk. I'm just going to take that dark green mixture, which is mostly Payne's grey, and just put the tree trunk in where we can see it. That's that one. Doesn't want to be too dark because the leaves aren't too dark, otherwise it's going to look a little odd. And that's it. So you've got the 3 trees. You need a branch or 2, obviously, but not too many, and it doesn't matter where you put them. Just draw a line between the tree and the and maybe a little bit of a branch sticking out of the canopy, because they do. And maybe a little bit of a dead branch here and there. And I'm going to take a bit of that, the lighter green, and just draw some grasses in. And a bit of the darker, draw some up more. And that's, I think I'll call that a day. So back to the first one and the bravery test. Either with a very light touch on the brush and some water or the spritz bottle, spray your paper and hope. So with a not too big a brush, we're going to start on some colours. I'm going to pick up some yellow first. And this is cadmium yellow because it's brighter. Oh, I've got it smudging. Okay, so I've got some yellow up here. So paint it in between the trees and some yellow over here. Don't paint over the tree trunks unless you can help it. Now I'm going to go for a bit of yellow ochre, if you've got it, up here. That I've left a very hard edge there, so I'm just smudging it in. The same here. A little bit of green. It all basically it's being mixed on the paper.
It's not.
Right.
Oh, sorry.
Kath Tibble, turn your no, sorry, Kath, it wasn't you. No. Okay. So yellow and a bit of green there. We just want it to be different colors because it's like the foliage is everywhere, but it's all different colors. And then a bit darker green over here. Dop a bit in there and a bit down there, there. It's drying so quickly. And a bit of the mauve or purple or lilac or whatever. So that was a little bit of linseed. Oh, that's way too much. It's the trouble. You pick a little bit what you think a little bit is, and that goes over here, over in this corner, around the house, right around the house, down into that bit in between the trees where the horizon meets the ground, and some over here. No hard edges. So it's all, I've got a lot of water on my brush. Now I want a pop of colour there. Didn't really do a pop of colour, did it? No. And so if you've got something, got some hard edges, just go in with a damp brush and brush them about a bit. I'm just going over where my lilac is, because it's meant to be sort of twilight. So and we come down to, there's some grass in front of this house. So I'm just doing that mid green all over it. Can't see it. Mid green. We're going to darken it in a bit, but and mid green in front. A mucky roof, although it doesn't need to be plain white. It doesn't need to be bright white. I've actually painted in now the lighter tree trunks in the distance, and I'm now going to do branches. And pick your tree to start off with, and go for it. So, starting at the bottom, I'm going to have a couple of branches that don't go anywhere. So it's just a flick, very light, just a flick. And I'm going to have one that goes across now. So coming from the middle of the tree, jaggedy up. It helps if you have trembly hands. And one that's not quite so upright, one going up there. Then decide which of your trees is in front of the others. I have decided that this one, this right-hand one, is in front of its neighbour. So I can take my branch across it. Oh, I can smell food. So And then we start on the next tree. Remember, this one's behind what it is for me. So if I'm going to make it come over, the branches come past the first one, then I've got to do them behind. Is it behind the second one? No. Or the next one? And some straight ones, just sweeping flicks. And I've done that wrong. Just some straight ones. We just want a lot of branches in, really. So I made the first ones sort of gnarly and not straight, and then the other ones have become straight. And now I need to do some splatter. So with your round brush, I'm gonna pick up some of them of that cadmium yellow, make it quite dilute. Get your brush, I'll do it the old way, it's easier, and tap it against your finger. If you've got a better method that you use, please do. So I'm tapping it all across the bottom of those trees there. Then I'm going to pick up some burnt sienna, put it in with the cadmium yellow, and do exactly the same. It begins to hurt your finger after a while, but don't worry about it. You've got some more. Then I get some sepia, put it in with the burnt sienna and put that in. So we've got lots of splat. I'm going to do a bit of grass down here. So again with the round brush and the light green, well, no, mid green. I'm going on, not too damp. If you think it's a bit damp, just tap it on your, and just with the side of the brush, just pull the grass up. And you can make the green a little bit darker and do some more. My brush is almost dry and I'm not, it's just leaving where it touches. And then I'm going to go into that brown that we ended up with from the splat and put some of that in. And swap back to the rigger. Go in the brown. You know those little branches or little growths at the bottom of trees? That's what we want down there. And some grasses with a rigger, just dot them in. You can use some yellow as well. So we've got, and with the round brush, clean but damp, just just go over the bottom of that so that it sort of melds in a bit. Otherwise, it's going to look a bit funny. And just the next thing we're going to do is tackle the little house on the prairie. Next thing to tackle is the roof of the house. It's sort of rusty corrugated iron. So I'm using a little bit of cadmium yellow and the browny mess that we started off with. And with the side of the brush, I'm just pulling it down. And then I'm going to, with a damp brush, just wiggle that in so it looks rusty, I think is the word. And using the same color, I'm going to, where we've gone over the house with the dark, I'm just going to go with a brownie color that we made really when we were doing other stuff. And that's your shadow there, you see. Perhaps I come across with rust a bit more. It's got a chimney. Why? I don't know. I'm just going to put the chimney in. I'm going to make that a little bit darker there. That's where the last of the sun is coming in, that bit there. But this bit's going to be a bit darker. Then I want that dark green, which is almost gone on my palette. So just put some little bit more yellow and Payne's grey in. And with the rigger and dry, almost just pull it across, make sparkles. Let your paper pull it off. I've got a problem with this tree here. It sort of disappeared into nothing. So I'm just going to, with a brown, I'm just going to very gently darken it, missing out the splats and the branches from the other trees if I can. That's it, because that's closer. The rest are fine. That's well away. And with this one, again, it's still not as dark as I want. So I'm going to just darken that down the bottom there, just to bring it to the fore more. We've got a fence. Fence is not going to be black. It's going to be that brown. So I'm just putting the fence in. It can be falling down. Can have fence posts missing. What else have we got? The windows. Has anybody got about their person some Dr. Whites or some gouache or some white acrylic? Because you'll need that to mix with some yellow. So I've got a little bit of that out. I'm going to pick up a bit of the yellow, stick it in the white gouache or whatever, and just very carefully draw some windows. It's evening, we're lit up. And whilst we've got that yellow, we can have a splat with it. So because it will now show up because it's got the gouache or whatever in it. So I'm splatting using the rigger. I'm just splatting it over the solid grass, really. So that gives it a little bit of a break. And the last thing to do is, those tree trunks are very white. So I'm going to take a little bit of yellow with a tiny bit of the brown in it. So it's a mucky yellow. And on the right side, I need more brown, really. On the right side only, left side, sorry. I'm just running my brush up those white, very white bits on the trees. I want the white to be, the bright white to be visible on the right side. So I'm not touching that side, just running it up. And yeah, that's it really. I mean, obviously it needs a bird, but we'll, with the Payne's grey, we'll put in a bird. Just there is a big one, because they have big birds. Just faffing with that roof. Don't touch that yellow. And a couple of things on there. I think that's it. Well, that is it for me anyway. No, I'm making that the same color and I don't want it. Okay,